Today on Criminal Minds, we talk about prison, acid, and alpha males. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV. We are here doing the Criminal Minds After Show, Season 12, Episode 15, called Alpha Males. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at SeraphiniTV. We're down a panelist today, but we still have...
She dropped out, and it wasn't acid. She's okay.
It's not acid.
Yeah, we have Chris Howard. Reach me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter, as well as Instagram. And here we are.
Here we are. What were your quick thoughts of Alpha Male? A lot of heavy things in this episode.
Yeah, I dug it. I like the heaviness. I've been saying for a while that I thought that they should leave Spencer in prison. I thought this was awesome. It was just neat. It was gritty. It was real. Even the acid in the face, that whole thing was really gritty as well. Yeah. So I like the whole thing.
Let's get to the acid part. We'll definitely get to Reed, but then we'll get to the main case of this episode. Very intense, and this is not the first episode of Criminal Minds to deal with any form of acid, but this is kind of a newer version of how they dealt with acid and their victims. So we get the case that's presented to us 1 week ago. We had Harley McCaffrey and Simon Wells, and apparently there was a guy who ran up to them and shouted something in Latin, which is "Et despertum elude."
Wow, listen to you. I'm just shocked at your language skills. They're really improving.
Nah, but thanks. I don't speak Latin, so I probably completely butchered that. But sprays acid in their faces. Right. They get hospitalized. And
this happens. This is not, I was threatened with acid in my face once. Seriously, yeah. Oh. It didn't happen. I mean, that's why I look like this. No, but I never had it.
Apparently didn't ruin their moneymaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of disturbing, especially when they were watching the security footage and how fast it went, and they couldn't tell if it was a man or a female,
right?
Or at night in darkness.
Because whoever it was wearing a hat, and it was dark, and
and even the victimology pool, it's. The looks of each person is like completely different and seemingly unrelated to each other.
We're not finding the connections,
There's no connection, which they always try to find the similarities between these people. But that was already a week ago. We had the new case and the new people with Colton Davis and Neela Travers. Colton left the bar. He was partially blinded by the acid. And Neela left the gym, and she was affected in the face, neck, and chest.
Yeah, what was weird was how they were. Was it a nurse that was talking, or it was a doctor, female doctor, who was talking about the effects of the acid and the fat and just how it burns and corrodes.
Literally burns away the layers of skin, fat, and bones. And even Anila, it was like deteriorating her bones. It's that sulfuric,
nasty stuff. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Like just thinking about it, and we saw this security footage of them like actually being intact. It's a scary notion.
Yeah.
Jeez. So again, now these 4 victims, they still can't figure out like what's the connection between. Did you have any inkling of what was happening?
Well, I mean, they started to kind of zoom in on people there was something that had to do with romance, something that had to do with people kissing, something that had to do, so you're kind of getting the little clues as to what it was, but it was hard to make out exactly what it was. But it seemed to have something to do with love or emotion, or at first I thought maybe because they were displaying affection in public, it was somebody from another religion or something that wanted to suppress that.
See, these I didn't really pick it up at first, because these 4 victims, they were
we didn't see as much of that.
They were single. They weren't really with each other until the next group of victims, which the next couple was actually, a couple.
Together, right.
But yeah, we had David Turner and Brandy Moore in the park in broad daylight, not at nighttime this time. Someone running up to them, spraying it in their face.
And he was, it was kind of, I picked it up a little bit in the way that he was kind of casing people, or just watching them and stalking them, and
creeper.
Saw a little bit there. Yeah, creeper, yeah. And then, so it became more and more obvious there, but yeah, the victims in the park, then he gets both of them at once. Nasty. I mean, what's that gonna, like, you can imagine being in their place, you're about to kiss, or so there's something that's, you're having this romantic connection, and just then you get blinded and corroded your face away, both of you. That's got to screw up your ideas around romance and love.
Well, maybe not your ideas of romance, but just like the mentality of the unsub and how he sees people and couples, actually with PDAs, public displays of affection.
Yeah, but what if you're in their position? It's just going to mess you up for life. It's I mean, obviously physically, but psychologically,
that was the point.
Yeah.
Of the unsub. He would attack these victims to physically and mentally mess with them, because he himself wanted them to feel that anguish that he was feeling.
Right.
Which was interesting. What did you think of
about that concept?
Profile, when they're profiling the unsub. He was using highly concentrated nitrate acid, which is, the scary thing is, it's readily available anywhere. Yeah. And there are 35,000 plus videos just online on how to make it.
Telling you how to make it, yeah. I mean, that was interesting. I found that I thought it was a little over the top with how he interacted with this community and some of the manifesto that he wrote and stuff. I suppose that if somebody's whacked out enough to go spray acid in somebody's face, that maybe they would be that extreme in their views and stuff. But because I know of people that do those pickup sleazy type things. I've met people like that before, and I've never met anybody with those types of extreme views. But maybe it exists out there.
Very extreme, and which was I think more the surprising thing while we're learning more about the unsub, that it's out of rage, jealousy, and revenge towards these people, only because of his personal rejection from other women, from sexual rejection, and the physical rejection as well on his behalf.
Right. I have sexual rejection, but it's when I reject myself, and that's horrible. That's a joke.
Goodness.
Oh goodness, where are we going to go with that? It was really interesting. At one point, I also thought that maybe it was somebody. It was just like those knockout games where people just come and punch people in the face, almost like gang-related activity or something, and they're, it's like a rite of passage. I thought maybe it was just that kind of senseless crime, but apparently not.
I didn't think that either.
Oh, you didn't?
Like, I'm not a gamer, so that kind of like goes over my head.
All right.
But I didn't really expect it. I mean, everything about this unsub I thought was actually pretty fascinating. Now, having watched like 12 seasons of unsubs,
right.
I kind of pick up what unsubs can
You're
do.
all over
but
it,
I didn't really expect this one to be a extreme narcissist.
No, I didn't either.
To the point where he thinks of himself too superior that he's already degrading other people to
that was
feel
weird.
Even lower than what they already
That's the problem with that type of thinking anyway, that somebody's superior to another person. Whenever you're doing that, you're going to have big highs, and then you're going to have low lows, because you either think it's really all about inferiority. The person who feels superior to other people really has a big inferiority complex. So,
what did you think about this website that they found he was picking his victims from?
Yeah, it was interesting. What was it called?
No means yes from the Manosphere.
No means yes.
From the Manosphere, which is basically an online universe that apparently does actually exist, where it has the oppressive feminist culture.
Right. Now, like I said, I've met people like that. I've run into people that play do the game and stuff. Have you read that book, The Game?
No.
It's all for players, like guys that want to pick up women and pick up stuff.
Goodness.
And so you're not reading it?
I'm not sure if I want to read it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty slimy, sleazy stuff.
I imagine.
In terms of the way they think about their mindset, there's parts that's like, okay, that's useful, but they really are demeaning toward women and stuff, and it's and I've met people out there like that. I know people like that. I know people who do that. So it wasn't so original to me, but it was a little bit more on the extreme edge. I hadn't heard of anybody talking at that extreme. They've still shocked me with their conversar and stuff, but
oh yeah, it was just scary, because I was kind of curious to just look it up, but I didn't want to go that far down into the rabbit hole. But
just to see if it really exists?
Or yeah, but apparently it does. But I believe them if it does. It has to stem from some truth.
Yeah.
But the idea of the oppressive feminist culture, and how he targeted all these victims that physically they looked gorgeous. They were like really well physical,
beautiful
built,
people,
beautiful,
yeah.
nice, successful people. And it's not just the physical, but they were
their
also
air,
successful,
the way they,
and their job positions that
where
they
they
were
hold
in.
themselves. You know.
So like he targeted those people to make himself even feel better.
Right. You would have been a perfect target.
Oh, God, no, thanks, but no. That's scary to think I might be on that
I was
list.
just saying, you're
don't think
beautiful,
so
Marisa.
Whatsoever. Thanks, but moving on. All right. He wanted to inflict maximum pain for physical,
Emotional,
and
psychological,
emotional, to both sexes, and it wasn't just female; it was men in general, because I think
that was interesting.
They were more surrogates. Oh, hello. They were more surrogates for himself, really.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird, but it was interesting that he went for both men and women, because that's really unusual.
Yeah. He wanted to inflict, make them feel unwanted, ugly, self-loathing as he did.
Right.
To bring them down to his level.
Which, once again, if that's like going back from superiority to self-loathing. You know, it's like one leads to the other. Yeah, the extremes lead to each other. It's like a bipolar person. So the manic highs and then lows. You know.
Yeah. What did you think of now when we find out who the actual unsub was, Alan Crawford, and the fact that he worked for the Tyrell chemical
company.
place. That's how he was getting the acid. But he, in his manifesto, 118-page manifesto, just his extreme view of what he was planning on doing to everybody with the power sprayer.
Well, I mean, I guess, they write those things when you hear about the Columbine High School and stuff. They shoot it up. Like, there's people, oftentimes these people will write letters or notes and manifestos
or
and
pictures out into the online world now.
Right. Yeah. So, it was pretty realistic on that front. And he looked like the perfect guy to do something like this. You wouldn't expect it. He's totally unassuming. He's got the glasses and just kind of. He's kind of a wallflower, really, but
he seemed like a normal, average person, and like just another face in the crowd.
But he's enraged inside.
Totally enraged. The power sprayer. It's like, oh, and we found out that he was tracking these victims not only from the manosphere but also single events.
Right.
In the area.
Well, that makes you feel really good about going to a singles event, doesn't it?
I don't go to singles events.
Oh, you don't?
So that's probably good.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that was another way he was picking his victims as well.
Right.
But what did you think about the quote-unquote takedown? And it wasn't really a takedown. It was
I thought it was fantastic. And what's the character's name again?
We had Walker.
Walker, was he the one sitting with him? Yeah, he did a great job. That was fantastic, because you can imagine it going just like that. And it takes cojones. It takes some guts and
gusto.
Gusto. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
To sit with somebody next to that's got acid in their hand that could very well spray it in your face.
Yeah.
And have a conversation with them like that. It was a tough conversation. I liked the conversation.
It was interesting, and we haven't really seen Walker do much
that side of him.
And like takedowns. I don't really think he's the physical kind of. He's not the brute strength of that team. Obviously, he's more the mental.
But he's the mental lets him know when something's coming. He sees the cues. He stops him. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it though, because it gave him something to do, especially in this, and we kind of saw his skills, and the way he was talking to him, like trying to be buddy with the unsub and try to
create rapport.
Yeah, and like get to that level of understanding. It's like, man, I feel you. But it's a degrading viewpoint on women, on just society in general, and how this unsub thought of these people.
So he entered into his model of the world, became like him. It's kind of that chameleon thing. And then when he, what did he say? He showed almost empathy and understanding for those viewpoints, which opened the doorway for a conversation. I loved how they did that. So it was smart and clever writing on the part of the writers. And they also had some good use of just pacing and leading in that type of communication.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is, like, we didn't really physically see it. They just kind of cut away, and we can, as an audience member, we can just like, yeah, they got him.
Right. Yeah. Oh, they kind of crowded in, and that's it. Yeah.
All surrounded
it's
him.
Over,
it's like,
buddy.
you have too many trained guns on you right now. Don't even try. I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
It was simple. It was clean.
Yep.
Despite what we just
Easy.
witnessed, what he did to the 4 other victims.
Especially in a crowded place, crowded nightclub like that, to be able to do it
goodness.
without too much fuss. That's good.
Yeah. I didn't like this George Cunningham also, who wasn't attacked, but he was about to meet Melinda, who was the last victim. But his viewpoint on men, thinking that he could have been the unsub.
Yeah, it took me a second to, oh yeah, George Cunningham.
Yeah, he was part of the no means yes.
Right.
He was commenting, be strong, learn game, get laid, don't trust
Yeah,
women.
but that truly is what they have. That's what they put on those sites.
What a D-bag.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. But the new word that I never really heard of, incels, involuntary celibates.
I've never heard of that either. I think I've been that for the past year.
But it was George Cunningham finally finding a woman that those 2 couples actually set the unsub off.
Right.
You wouldn't really think
Kind of
that.
triggered it. Yeah, I mean, he's just he's out to get anybody he can, and yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Easy takedown.
Yeah.
Easy talk down, more so. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was clean. No one else died.
Yeah, no, that's the way it should be done. Clean, take it down, take him out. And,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay, let's get to Reed. Reed is in prison.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, at the beginning of the episode, he was transferred to the Milburn Correctional Maximum Security, a federal prison. Apparently, he's not supposed to be there. Something happened. He got transferred to an actual federal prison.
Right.
What were your thoughts of how he, first landed there and the first people that he interacted with and put everything on edge?
I didn't quite understand it because they had pulled him out with there were 3 guys that stood forward, him and 2 others, and he was supposed to go off with the 2 others, and the guard comes out and says, no, you get back in the line. The 2 others that walked off looked like they were bad guys. They looked like they were going to a tougher place than everybody else.
I don't
so
know.
I was a little confused.
I think they might have gone
to a lower,
a better place.
Yeah, I thought they were going to a tougher
the...
place just by their look. They looked like more beasts, so it looked like, boy, those guys did something wrong.
I don't know. Well, he's not, obviously he's not supposed to be there in the first place, and Reed keeps saying that he's innocent. I still believe that. Unfortunately, we didn't really see much about, his trial is in they said 3 months, so maybe at the end of the season, the finale episode, we might actually
we'll get to see the trial.
If we're going into real time watching,
that's fantastic. If we get to watch the rest of the season with him in prison, I mean, there's this whole unfolding of this other world. Which, I mean, there were times where I was going, how the hell is he going to do it?
Yeah,
how's he going to make it through that?
in prison for the next 7 episodes that we have.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. It'll be good. It adds to your character.
Sure. No, I don't like it. But I was put it was uneasy to watch him, especially the first night in prison when he has all these other guys go up to him.
That was intimidating. Yeah.
I was scared for his life.
Yeah, because you got to think,
what were your thoughts?
Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, it's, that's the tough part. It doesn't, even if you can take care of yourself, there's still 3 of them there, and they're, that's very, very scary, but also very real. I like the realistic aspect of it because you can imagine just exactly that happening. Mm-hmm. It went down exactly how you think it might go down.
Yeah, and the fact that even during the day on the first day, someone took his stuff and he had to just stand his place. It's like, no, that's mine. You meant to go get it. That already set off a few things.
He handled it really well.
People.
He handled that really well. Just, I think I'm going to take it now.
I think that might bite him later.
Yeah, but I like the way he handled it. I don't think he was expecting what he got in return for it, but
I don't think so either. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this Calvin Shaw that he befriends in prison?
Total shock, totally unexpected, and 100% in his favor. That guy saved his ass.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, because he was gonna. God knows what they were gonna do. I can imagine a few things that they were gonna do if Calvin didn't walk in.
I think it's good that Reed has someone he can trust in this prison, or just someone to.
And it's not just someone; it's somebody that's got power.
Watch his back.
Yeah,
he has power. He has rapport. He apparently worked at the bureau in Detroit in 2005, but he killed his criminal informant Elena Olegnova.
Right.
But the thing is, this Calvin Shaw, he's actually innocent. He's actually guilty.
Yeah, he did it.
He has admitted it, and he takes complete fault in it, where Reed isn't fully guilty.
Right. He's not even guilty, I think. We think, right?
Yeah, we're led to believe that he's guilty.
Right.
But we still believe he's innocent.
We believe he's innocent. Yeah, but the other guy
says he's guilty.
It's weird how Calvin says that somehow that's going to equate with how Reed's accepted. So, and he's telling him, you know, you haven't fully accepted this yet. Maybe you need to accept it so that you can be accepted here. Yeah. And that's weird. It's he's gonna have a crisis of conscience.
Completely mentally twisted.
Yeah, where he has to admit to a crime in order to survive.
Yeah, admit to his faults just to like get by in this prison.
Right.
Because if you do something wrong and you know you did it,
street cred.
Pretty much. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's like it just builds your street cred.
You were gonna say street cred?
Yeah, I was gonna say
street cred?
it's like it's gaining that respect from the other inmates.
Yeah.
If they know that you're also guilty.
Right.
Like you have that in common.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there's a whole code. You know, you gotta fit in somehow. And yeah, no, I felt for him. It was interesting to see. I didn't know how it was going to go down. I didn't know how he was going to make it through because, like I said before, he's a pretty guy. You know, he's aesthetically pleasing. And in prison, they're in prison for life, many of them. And they start acting out. They start, there's weird stuff that goes on there. You know. Did
you know statistically people who are physically more attractive tend to do less prison time?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, but they get out earlier,
they tend to get parole faster than those who aren't.
Wow. So they'd book you and they'd let you right out. They'd say, "Hey, cutie, you don't have to go in at all."
That's a fact because that was mentioned on a previous episode of Criminal Minds.
That's interesting. Now, I was trying to figure out, does it mean that they never get put in prison just because? No,
not never, but
or statistically
people
less.
who are like physically, aesthetically more symmetrical,
right,
and have better physical features tend to do less time in prison.
I'm wondering if it happens on the front end or it happens on the back end, like once they're inside, and we don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
But Criminal Minds told me that before.
Shit, they'd lock me up for 100 years.
I don't know. Well, I feel like you can defend yourself because you know jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so. At least they have that. But that's what I'm saying.
You can save your own back.
Yeah, but even I say, but there's three dudes there with a shank. You know, it's like, wow, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and I think the scary, twisted thing about this is they go up to Reed and they're like, and here were the minorities, being the Caucasians.
Right.
They're the minorities. All physically taller than he is.
I was going, get in with
build.
the blacks, dude. Even before Calvin came up, it's like, that's the side to go to.
Just stick next to Calvin Shaw. Because it seems like Calvin also has the power to decide Reed's going to bunk next to me.
Yeah, Calvin's like, he's black.
Yeah, well, I don't even think it's like a race.
Well, it is for
anymore.
them inside there.
For them, I mean, it might be for them, but like I didn't really see the race as an issue. I thought it was just that mental game that he has to just survive in this.
Right. Yeah. But it does play a part if they're divided into two groups, if they're the blacks and the whites. It's unfortunate that it happens that way, but he's going to have to play that game somehow, and he's safer right now with the blacks for sure. With Calvin in there with his buddy, but he probably would have been anyway if he could have made some sort of an alliance with them because they're bigger.
Yeah, I think Calvin will be a good friend for Reed, especially lending books and playing chess. Those are the two things Reed loves.
Right.
Just in his leisure time, so I think he's like the perfect person to be with in prison.
How funny is that? He's playing chess and Reed doesn't even have to look at the board. He's like, I see it.
Yeah, he's so smart. Yeah. He's basically Bobby Fischer.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that part, but I also enjoyed how at the beginning of the episode we got the whole BAU team that worried about Reed, and even Penelope Garcia.
This is her episode for him.
This is a schedule. We're all gonna visit him. We're all gonna write letters to him.
They do her character really consistently, don't they?
Oh, so great. Yeah. Yeah. The contact schedule board.
Right.
For visitation schedules, and they're like, "Why do you go first?" Because I made the chart.
I thought she was gonna get in trouble for a while. It's like too much, you know.
No.
But no.
It's so true to her character. And like, so that didn't bother me whatsoever. Yeah. And I loved how Prentice was like, we'll get through this, and so we'll Reed. Do you think, all right, I think anything else about this episode?
No, I thought it was great. I liked the grittiness.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. All right, so that takes us to predictions.
Yes, it
Your
does.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Predictions.
All right. Do you think Reed will be in prison for the remainder of the season, or do you think he'll get out faster?
He'll be in for the remainder of the season. Is my hope. Is my hope. And
Yeah.
my prediction.
I don't like that. Because I mean, even one episode of him in prison is hard to watch. I can't imagine. We're on episode 15. I can't imagine like 7 more episodes of him in prison.
Yeah, I can. I mean, there's also. I mean, they do whole television series in prison. Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't watch. I don't watch those shows. Okay. But do you think Scratch will reappear and also do, I don't know, something else that will keep? Or, I think that was another question of mine. Do you think Scratch was the one who made that last minute choice for Reed to go to the federal prison?
Yeah, it's really interesting because
like he messed with the...
It seemed like an internal police code or something because... but the only police he messed with were the Mexican police, right? So it wasn't the U.S. police.
Well, we don't know.
Unless it was Scratch that was pulling strings, right?
We know Scratch has the ability to, with technological abilities, he can hack things. He has a hacking ability. He has ways to manipulate people's identities, documents and stuff.
Right.
I think also Scratch messed with Reed's documents to get him to this prison, because they said at the beginning of the episode he's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, it was.
Or like this particular facility, he's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So something happened, and I think Scratch interfered. Messed with Reed's documents, so he goes and winds up to this particular prison.
Yeah.
We even had that security guard who's like, "Do you recognize any of these people?"
Yeah, the security guard was kind of a mean.
Good chances you put some of them away.
Yeah, and he wasn't like you would think that there would be camaraderie between law enforcement, but not at all there.
No, I think Scratch was behind this prison transfer.
There you go.
Only because, and I think in the future we'll see episodes of Reed actually facing some of the unsubs that he put away.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
In this particular prison.
They could do so much.
Which is, I mean, it kind of comes full circle if you think about it, because the episode where there was the whole prison breakout with the previous serial killers in that one location, like they purposely went to that prison because it was filled with all these people that they put away.
Right.
And to force Reed to go to another prison that he's surrounded by all these people that he put away, I think it's just kind of poetic.
That could be great. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my prediction. And I'll leave, before we leave, the last 2 quotes of this episode that I loved at the beginning about the whole, of course, the episode title is called Alpha Male. But strong men who are truly role models, don't need to put down women to make themselves feel powerful. Michelle Obama. Yeah. Then at the end, one of the many lessons that you learn in prison is that things are what they are and will be what they will be, by Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
And
acceptance.
The last 2 factoids, because I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this isn't the first time we've seen Criminal Minds deal with acid. Other episodes that dealt with acid was episode Proof, season 7, episode 2, where the women had been sexually assaulted and blinded with sulfuric acid. And then Masterpiece, season 4, episode 8, where the victims were in a room wearing gas masks and being tortured by acid.
Wow. Now I have to ask, did you have to look those up, or did you just know?
I remembered them. I had to remember the exact titles.
Okay.
But season 4, episode 8, that the unsub in that episode was Jason Alexander.
Ah,
so go back and watch that episode.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening. In the meantime, where can everyone keep following you?
Follow me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter, Instagram. We'll see you there.
And you can follow me on Twitter and everywhere else here at AfterBuzz TV at Serafini TV. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, rating, commenting. Keep listening. Keep subscribing. Michelle will be back.
Obama?
And, Colin.
Oh, Michelle Cullen.
Our panelist, Michelle, will be back. And thanks, everyone. We will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.